Happy New Year, Fellowship. I'm Eric Landstrom, a member of the Chalice Choir, Vice Chair of the Pagan Study Group. The Pagan Study Group's goal is to explore how the sixth source and the seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism can find a richer expression here at our fellowship. One way is by reviving ancient religious traditions. If you remember Roman myths and legends, you'll recall that before Jupiter and Juno sat on the throne as the king and queen of the gods, there were the Titans, like Saturn and his brother Janus. When Janus is remembered today, it's for his namesakes, such as the month of January, or janitors, who are caretakers of buildings, which is an ironic indictment of how Janus came to be the god of gateways and doorways, of passages and transitions, of beginnings and endings. There was a war at the end of the Golden Age, a war of the Titans and the Olympians. Old Saturn was usurped by his ungrateful son Jupiter, and he fled to Janus for help to hide from the wrath of his son. And Jupiter was as vengeful and as vain as he was victorious. He swore that Janus, if he wanted to look out for old Father Time, then he would look out as a two-faced god. So Janus watches with two heads, one to look forward and one to look back. On his hand, Janus holds a key, which he uses to close the door to the old year and to unlock the entry into the new year, which means that Janus holds the key to this very present moment. But what Janus does not have is the power of prophecy. There are no records of him being a fortune teller, even though he can see into the future. He has the key, but his lips are sealed. And that's why we need to learn some lockpicking today. To crack the nut of 2024 is like cracking a safe. The gods help those who help themselves. So, from our pagan study group, I share today a tool that we can use for divination: tarot cards. Tarot readings are used for reflection, guidance, and self-development, but most people go to a tarot reader to try to get a glimpse of the future, which is weird because if you spend any time in self-reflection and development, you're going to get a glimpse of what your future is. Nevertheless, let us do a 4-card spread. 1 card for the present, 1 card for the past, 1 card for the future, and 1 card on what to place our focus for the desired outcome. The present, the Hierophant reversed. The past, the Empress. The future, the Chariot. Our focus, justice. The Hierophant reversed. This card in tarot refers to a master and the learning of practical lessons from the study of natural law. The energy of this card points to some agent or resource that can reveal the secrets of life, the cycles of the moon and tides, the links between human beings and the heavens. The Hierophant typically represents tradition, conformity, and a structured belief system. Reversed, the Hierophant can signify a departure from conventional norms. I'm reminded of the physicist Richard Feynman. He was known for his unconventional thinking and challenging traditional hierarchies. He questioned authority and fostered a spirit of curiosity. Feynman's groundbreaking work in quantum electrodynamics earned him a Nobel Prize in physics. It rejected the established scientific dogma to create a new conceptualization. And in his personal life, Feynman was well known for his nonconformist attitudes. His playful and adventurous spirit departed from the stereotypical image of a serious scientist, engaging in activity like playing the bongo drums and drawing nude models and lockpicking. Feynman began safecracking while working on the United States atomic bomb project at Los Alamos during World War II. The hobby fascinated him, and he devoted an entire chapter to stories related to safes he cracked in his autobiographical memoir, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. Staten Island, coffee, malt. We had no entertainment there at Los Alamos, and we had to amuse ourselves somehow. So fiddling with the Mosler lock on my filing cabinet was one of my entertainments. I practiced and I practiced until I could get the last two numbers off a open filing cabinet, hardly looking at the dial. Fenman realized he could see the second and third numbers of a combination if he ever got to glance at the safe when it was open. With this information and the imprecision of the wheel, he only had to try about 20 combinations to open a safe. In many cases, he didn't even have to use that combination of memory and trial and error. Fenman found the manufacturer's settings for the safe, and he tried it at every lock in the building. 1 in 5 of the world's most eminent scientists working on America's top secret nuclear bomb research had not bothered to reset the combination to the safe. A similar thing happened on another weekend when I was visiting Oak Ridge. I had written a report that had to be okayed by a colonel, and it was in a safe. Everybody else keeps documents in filing cabinets like the ones at Los Alamos, but he was a colonel, so he had a much fancier 2-door safe with big handles that pull 4 3/4-inch steel bolts back from the frame. The great brass doors swung open and he took out my report to read. Not having had an opportunity to see any really good safes, I said to him, "Would you mind, while you're reading my report, if I looked at your safe?" "Go right ahead," he said, convinced there was nothing I could do. I looked at the back of one of the solid brass doors, and I discovered that the combination wheel was connected to a little lock that looked exactly the same as the little unit that was in my filing cabinet in Los Alamos. Same company, same little bolt, except that when the bolt came down, the big handles on the safe could then move some rods sideways, and with a bunch of levers, you could pull back all those 3/4-inch steel rods. The whole lever system, it appeared, depended on the same little bolt that locks filing cabinets. Meanwhile, he was reading my report. When he finished, he said, "All right, it's fine." He put this report in the safe, grabbed the big handles, and swung the great brass doors together. Sounds so good when they close, but I know it's all psychological, because it's nothing but the same damn lock. I couldn't help but needle him a little bit. I always had a thing about military guys in such wonderful uniforms. So I said, "The way you close that safe, I get the idea you think things are safe in there. The only reason you think things are safe in there because civilians call it a safe." I put the word civilian in there to make it sound as if he'd been had. He got very angry. "What do you mean it's not safe? A good safecracker could open it in 30 minutes. Could you open it in 30 minutes? I said a good safecracker. It would take me about 45. Well, that's Fenman for you. A half-decent safecracker and the Hierophant reversed. But let me pick up on something that he put out there. The illusion of being safe. You may be familiar with words in English that are antonyms and others which are synonyms, but are you familiar with contronyms? Contronyms are also known as Janus words. They are words which are their own exact opposite. For example, oversight. Watchful and responsible care, as in the colonel had oversight of the report. But it's also its opposite. Oversight is an error made because someone forgot to exercise watchful and responsible care, as in Fenman cracked the safe because of simple oversight. People responsible for oversights are quote unquote checked out. Checked out? Does it mean to investigate closely, or does it mean to stop paying attention? Whether it is another contronym. I used to mean that something had lasted during rough times. Now it means something worn away and disintegrating under tough conditions. I'm worried that safe is being weathered and becoming a Janus word. Is it ever safe to assume anything anymore? Is your plan for 2024 just to play it safe and let someone else deal with consequences? Then what does it mean that we say the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is a safe space if people are playing it safe? And in September, our 2-year interim ministerial agreement ends with the Reverend Kathy. What happens then when the church's Hierophant is reversed? Is our future in safe hands? Well, turn and look at the person sitting next to you. Your future is in their hands. And I have great news for you. To paraphrase Lou Adler, past performance is the best predictor of future behavior. The Empress is our tarot card representing the past, and what a year it has been. That's thanks to the people who are sitting around you who have been absolutely majestic. I asked our social media manager, Kylie, to pull some highlights together for the UU Fellowship from 2023 to help you remember. Remember too, Fenman's method of safecracking was to look at an already open safe and find 2 of the 3 numbers of the combination. That's good advice. Let's look at 2 or 3 things that worked for us in the past and we can count on in the year to come. Roll the tape.
Human fulfillment, identity, and self-worth are inextricably linked to the tools and products of our creative endeavors. Today, we celebrate a Unitarian Universalist participation in Ayuda Puja, which means worship of tools, and it falls on October 23rd this year.
We begin this ceremony with paying tribute and expressing gratitude to our ancestors. Family roots, spiritual mentors, guides place photos, heirlooms, and other mementos on our altar. We carry our honored ancestors in our hearts, and they rejoice in their triumphs with us.
When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. We remember them. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them.
I start this presentation with the words of the Reverend Laura Randall. This earth is our home. Some of us live on the same patch of land our ancestors have called home for millennia. Others of us have called this land home for a few generations, if that. Some of us long for a distant home we remember from our youth, and others have always lived in the town we call home. Regardless of the miles between us, this earth is our home.
It is the blizzard, it is the sand, it is the blizzard. A warm sunny day, galactic that way, living in a Florida wonderland. On the beach we will have a picnic, turtles and the seagulls and the sun. Shira, Shira, Alleluia. Come, let's be singing, sing Alleluia. Come, let's be singing, sing Alleluia.
Thank you, Kylie. No, thank you. Thank you, Unitarian Universal Fellowship of Boca Raton. One more thought about the Empress. She's a nurturer, sending love. So is the UU Fellowship. We are united in caring. Life crushes us with challenges and cares. People around us are facing troubles and trying to hold it together, suffering mentally, struggling financially, being separated from loved ones. On Sunday mornings, please come into the circle of care here in the sanctuary or online to place a stone in the water. Where hearts connect, the weight of sorrows are made easier to bear. And join Judy in the monthly Death Cafe over Zoom if and when grief from illness, injury, incapacitation, accidents, and deaths bring you low. Which brings us to the chariot, the card of self-control and response inhibition. The driver of the chariot attempts to steer two opposing steeds, one black and one white, but he doesn't hold the reins. So even with black and white choices, it's difficult to decide sometimes. And to illustrate that point, I'd like to do a color word test with you. This is a short example of a Stroop test. The test is used to measure different cognitive functions, such as selective attention. Read aloud with me the name of the color, not the word. Again, that's color and not the word itself. Begin. Red, green, blue, violet, black, blue, black, violet, red, green, black, green, red, violet, blue, violet, red, black, blue, green. Yeah. Naming the colors of the first set of words is easier and quicker than the second. Because in the first set, the color matched the words. In the second, they don't. So a person has to pay more attention. People having problems paying attention, which might happen with dementia, tend to do poorly on a Stroop test. But also because you choose a word like violet instead of purple or lavender. The selective attention theory describes how our brain decides which information is important to pay attention to. When we take in stimuli, we filter out. We turn down the volume on stimuli that does not need our attention. But what happens if we filter out the wrong information and we have to go back and look at the stimuli again? That's the challenge of the chariot, to overcome conflict, to move forward in a positive direction. So here's how to safe crack the Stroop test. Would someone who did not know how to read in English be able to name the colors of the words quicker and correctly? Yeah, show hands. Raise your hand for yes. Those of you guys who are online, type in Y for yes or N for no. Okay. Again, read aloud with me and name the color, but not the word. Let's begin. Black, violet, blue, green, red, violet, black, blue, blue, violet, red, green, blue, black, red, violet. Hey, well done. Thank you, Paul, yes. First off, does anybody not recognize the language? What's the language? Hebrew, okay. And I choose Hebrew not just because it's read right to left, or because bilingual readers also experience Stroop interference. Actually, even blind readers experience Stroop interference. I asked Sandy about a version of the test which is done with Braille on different paper and plastic and thermoplastic. And yeah, even blind people experience Stroop interference like that. No, I use Hebrew to focus your selective attention on an important issue like Israel and the Gaza Strip and the Palestinian conflict, which is going to play a role in the 2024 US presidential election, along with issues like immigration and border security and the economy, jobs, inflation, rising prices, taxes, government spending, the national debt, Social Security, Medicare, healthcare, environmental and climate change, gun control, Second Amendment rights, abortion and reproductive rights, threats to democracy and woke ideology and LGBTQ rights. There are so many issues that are fighting for our attention. Forget the words. Forget the labels, the slogans, the talking points. Focus on the colors. Focus on justice. The justice card is all about fairness. and balance and accountability. Justice is the sword that cuts through a situation to decide what is fair without being swayed by outer beauty or by a fair appearance. Fair is not a contronym. The sword of justice can also be used for a lockpick. It's going to be our tension wrench. You see, most common locks are pin tumbler locks. The design consists of a plug that rotates around inside of a cylinder. Without a key inserted into the plug, the pins are pushed downwards due to the spring tension and prevent the plug from turning. When the right key is inserted into the plug, the pins align with a shear line where the plug meets the cylinder. When the pins are aligned with a shear line, it enables the plug to turn freely and to unlock. So picking a lock is a matter of applying pressure to the plug and to each pin. Put tension on the keyhole and push the pins individually until each pops up above the shear line. The lock opens as if you had a key. Opportunities are going to abound in the month of January for us to practice putting pressure on a system to get it to unlock justice for us. For example, the city of Boca Raton plans to honor the life and legacy of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday, January 17th. At 10 a.m., we will march the mile along Federal Highway from MLK Jr. Memorial on Ruby Street to the Meisner Park Amphitheater. Another way is the Freedom School. Jim Smith of the Healing Justice Group will offer a 4-part series of in-person racial justice programs here at the Fellowship on Saturdays, January 13th, 20th, 27th, and February 3rd from 1 to 3 p.m. Each program will be based on the 1619 Project and other sources. Each will feature a co-presenter from Palm Beach County community who'll provide a local angle on each issue. Sessions will be on capitalism, healthcare, education, employment, and housing. They'll discuss how Blacks have been disadvantaged in each category. Clear your mind with a Moonlight Maze meditation walk on Monday, January 22nd at 6 p.m. in the UUFBR Labyrinth. Be a game changer and help UUFBR tackle hunger during the Super Bowl on Sunday, February 11th at noon. Our February food drive is collecting cans of soup so we can line the labyrinth with non-perishable nutrition for our neighbors who are in need. In summary, if Janus won't open 2024 with his key, be a safecracker like Richard Feynman. Question authority and be free in faith. Drive the chariot with self-control, pay selective attention, and be diverse in thought. Embrace the empress. Emphasize where your strengths lie and be united in caring. Use the sword of justice to lockpick with pressure on pins and plugs to improve policy, process, and procedure, and be committed in action. In short, be a Unitarian Universalist and look both ways before moving forward. Happy New Year, Fellowship.